to have fun, you see. I got different hobbies, and that's all I need. Some say life is boring, but I disagree. I wake up and live my dream.
We got lucky. We were able to get into the free city park.
Yeah, not bad. It's a 2-day stay for free, and then any day after that is $10, so not a bad deal.
And there's not a ton here to do in this small town, so 2 nights is more than enough for you to see everything you're dying to see.
Yeah, blink and you might miss it.
We actually came here for Chimney Rock.
Well, we made it to Chimney Rock, except Chimney Rock is closed.
Well, the museum part
Yeah.
is closed,
Yeah.
or the office is closed, whatever you want to call it. Apparently for the summer they close Mondays and Tuesdays, so something to know. Although with all the national park closes for COVID, I don't know if they're even open at all.
Yeah, that's true. But there it is behind us, and there's really no way to even hike out there that we can tell. We haven't really looked that hard on the map, but there's a fence that goes all around the museum, so I don't know that there is a way to get out there.
Yeah, I don't think you can hike out there anymore. From what they said, there used to be trails, but not anymore. But I thought we could get a little closer, but that's it. There's the rock. That is another one of the ways people made it to the Oregon Trail. That was one of their signals that they were going the right way. Actually, it was the Oregon Trail, the Mormon Trail, and the Pony Express,
Right.
and the California Trail all used it. So
Right.
It's pretty cool. It is huge. You see it from miles away, so I can understand why they used it as their marker.
Yep.
Also, a little tidbit of info I know you're dying to know about this.
Oh, here we go with the info.
This was actually originally, of course, named by the Native Americans because they were here first. The translation to English actually meant elk penis. And as you can guess, when the new settlers came through, they didn't really like that name. So it actually had a whole bunch of different names before they settled on what it is today, Chimney Rock.
Yeah, and I'm going to take their word on it because I've never seen one. And now that you see it, you can't unsee it. So thanks for that little nugget of info.
Well, I have to read a little bit about the history before we go places. That's how you get, the best enjoyment out of exploring an area.
Right. The city park offers electric and water, and you have both 50 and 30 amp hookups. Not too bad. We didn't need the water because we came in full, and we're only driving about 45 minutes today, so we'll be able to dump there. But if you needed to dump before you left here, there is a campground close by that you can go to and dump.
Yeah, and there's a nice city park right across the street. So when we looked out our window, we have nice green grass and a bunch of trees to check out. It was a really nice stay here. When you're looking for places to stay, don't neglect city parks. They can be some real gems. We found some awesome ones. Some are free, some charge you, but usually they're much cheaper than private parks. So make sure you check them out along your travels. They offer this park in hopes that you're going to spend a little bit of money in their town. Tourism, although small, it does help this small town a little bit. So if you need some groceries or if you need to go to the hardware store, make sure you pop in downtown.
Yeah, good call.
You might say I'm a sucker for oddball roadside attractions. I do love them.
Or you're just a sucker. I don't know, one of the two.
Well, maybe, but this was free. I mean, it's kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. I mean, really, how cool is this when you see old cars stacked on top of each other, buried partly in the ground, resembling Stonehenge?
And we've actually been to Stonehenge.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. I recognize some of these cars because my family owned them when I was a kid. But it is pretty cool nonetheless.
We are in Alliance, Nebraska, heading north.
Yep.
Again, still trying to beat the heat. It's 90-something today. We aren't winning, but we found this cool little artistic I don't even know what you want to call it, roadside attraction to check out along the way.
Yeah.
And it's free, by the way. It doesn't cost you anything to come and walk through here, which makes it even better.
Yeah. And the original Carhenge started out as 25 cars that were put into the ground at a family reunion of the guy who owns the property. And they did it in 6 days. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. They painted it later on to make it look more like Stonehenge. And they actually were trying to force them to get rid of it because the city thought it was an eyesore. Well, now they're pretty glad because it actually brings tourism to their city. It's one of the most popular tourist spots actually in Nebraska, even over all the national monuments. That's crazy.
It is. And since the original 25, he's got at least another 25 that he's added that are painted gray and then
Sprinkled.
pushed into the ground or dug into the ground around the Carhenge area itself. So it is pretty cool.
We are getting ready to leave this campground, over the hill campground. I'm doing my last check here, getting us something to drink for the road. So this campground isn't a bad campground. It's fine for an overnight. It's not anywhere you would come to as a destination or want to stay very long. But the advantage is it's full hookups, $35, and it's right next door to Carhenge.
Yeah, and word to the wise, you may have trouble leveling because none of their sites are level. It's kind of on a hill. Wait till she gets done making noise. So we did have a hard time leveling, but we figured it out. Even the guy that works here said, you know, our leveling's not the best, but we're working on it. So if you're coming through Alliance, Nebraska, the Jeski's Over the Hill Campground, not a bad stop for an overnighter. It allowed us to do laundry, which was a plus.
That was definitely the priority because we're hoping to boondock for the next 7 days once we leave here. But we're not really sure if it's going to happen. We're going to a first come, first served campground. We may or may not get a spot. So my chore on the way up, which is only about an hour, is to find a plan B.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with the law of gross tonnage, and we're just going to force our way in. No, I'm just kidding.
It's another city park, so when we get there, we'll show it to you. It looks really cool, and hopefully we'll get something up there.
Yeah.
We made it to CRAWFORD City Park, and the first come, first served. Yay, there was nobody here when we got here.
Yeah, and I think we've only had 3 or 4 come through for the night and leave, so we pretty much had the place to ourselves.
Yeah, there are 4 hookup spots. And they're pretty good size. I bet a 45-footer could get in there easy.
Yeah, I think that Class C, or that Super C that came in last night was pretty long. It was a tag axle, so he fit in there just fine.
Yeah. And then on this side where we are, there are a whole bunch of spots with water for $10 a night. And there's a dump station right on the other side of this building here, so you can dump before you leave. Let's talk about quiet.
Well,
it's quiet, like it feels quiet.
As in no neighbors around. But if you can hear off in the distance, we'll be quiet for a sec. You hear that? That's a stampede of cattle being put into cattle trucks across the street or right behind us. Right over here.
It's an auctioneer place, so a cattle auctioneer. And there are trains right there too, so I guess they actually bring them in on trains and not only leave in trucks, but on some of the cargo trains as well. So, but I have to say, we've been here for a couple of nights already, and it's the first time they've done the cattle selling, auctioneering kind of thing.
Yeah, we could hear the PA system going off pretty much from sun up to sundown.
Yeah, it's finally done.
Yeah, but you could still hear the angry cows over there. Either they know what's going on or they just don't like being messed with.
Yeah, maybe. Now the location could actually be a destination. We are surrounded by 3 really cool places for you to check out. There is Fort Robertson State Park. There's, I think it's called Toadstool Park, which is really cool. And then there's a 3rd state park. I can't remember the name, but I'll put it here on the map so you guys can see it when it pops up. And you can hike, bike. Fort Robinson is really cool. It's actually an old army fort from the 1800s, and many of the buildings are still there. Except for all the closures with COVID, they actually usually have a ton of activities, including tours and swimming pool and all kind of stuff. So if you're going north or traveling through this area, this would be a really cool place to stop.
Yeah, Fort Robinson has 3 separate campground areas as well.
Yeah.
And they had pull-in and back-in sites there. It was pretty nice.
And if you hear that noise behind us now, that is actually a motorcycle, because right behind us is a dirt track. Now, if there's no motorcycles on there, you can ride your mountain bike on there and you can have a little fun. We haven't made it over there yet, but we're hope to before we leave here.
I think tomorrow morning I'm going to try to go over there, sneak in before the motocross bikes get there.
Yeah, and only had a couple come since we've been here, so
Yeah.
it hasn't been that active.
No.
So-
And most people that walk by or drive by, they're kind of shocked to see somebody sitting here on this side and not hooked up. I guess everybody comes in and goes to the
Goes to
hookups.
hookups. Yeah. Now the city park is used. There's a really cool playground. There is a lot of grass and a lot of places for kids to play, and it's really nice. And you see a lot of families here for dinner, bringing out their picnic and playing and eating. So it's really cool.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot in Crawford to do.
There's nothing in Crawford to do.
Well, I was being polite.
If you're going through this way, stop by and check it out.
Yeah, give them a little bit of love. I mean, it's $10 a night to boondock. You can't beat that.
You can't beat it.
No.
And especially knowing you're safe and it's patrolled and, you know, they come and get the trash or whatever. It's really cool. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to finish our beer here that we got from Parks and Labor. If you don't know what that is, then you've missed one of our videos. So go back and check out one of the ones from before. Until later, we're out.
Cheers.
Lessons learned from today's bike ride. I still suck at it.
It's not a lesson learned. That's
I learned
always
today
known.
how bad I was. I'm going to blame it on two things. One, I'm training for a 10K, and I upped my game last night. So we're going to blame it on that, for one.
Right.
I had a really good run,
I'm sure you did.
and I worked really hard. My ears are popping. Two, the ride going out, it was an out and back. So going out was fine. It wasn't great. It was fine, but we turned around and come back, and the freaking headwind, I don't know where it came from. It's like it knew I was tired and was like, oh, let's screw with her today.
Yeah, at 30 miles an hour is what it seemed like. So there was no wind going out. Luckily, we only went out about 3 miles, turned around, and came back.
Yeah, it was a baby ride for sure. And it was pretty flat. It was on gravel, but it was, a little bit of hills, but it was an easy ride for sure.
Yeah, it was. It was crushed red rock trails what we were on, so it wasn't too bad. But somewhere on the way back, I developed a slow leak in my tires. So
he was almost flat.
Yeah, so we got back just in the nick of time.
But the bad part was we hit the decline. I was so excited for the whole way back to hit my little decline so I could coast a little bit.
The wind
was so strong I couldn't even go down the hill.
Yeah, if she stopped pedaling and the wind almost stopped her in her tracks.
So,
that's how much wind it was.
Anyway, we'll get there. That's all I can say. I need new diaper shorts because the butt pad on these aren't working.
Yeah, both of our shorts need to go.
So we need good biking shorts. But other than that, we'll just have to take it one ride at a time. Luckily, this was a good ride for Phil to test out his shoulder.
Yeah, his shoulder feels good. It did feel, it's a little sore, but I think it's because I'm lifting the bikes and stuff. I'm doing stuff that I probably
shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get my strength back. So it's tolerable. It's workable. So I just need to pay attention to what I'm doing. But it felt great riding.
So when we get back to San Antonio, priority number 1 is a bike hitch. So we don't have to take the bikes apart every time. And for those of you wondering where our mountain bikes are, They are actually in the rig. We put them in the rig just to make sure nobody messed with them while we were gone.
Actually, the mountain bikes are here. The e-bikes are in the rig.
See, I'm so tired I can't even think right now.
Yeah.
So the e-bikes, yes, we pulled them out because we normally stow them in the back of the Jeep. So they're inside Ruby. Giz is guarding them, so they're good to go.
Right. He's probably knocked out right now.
Well, this was actually less than 8 minutes from our campground. And if you're smart, you would realize that this trail actually starts at the campground.
Right.
So you wouldn't have to drive to Fort
Robinson State Park.
Which, although it is a beautiful place, you wouldn't have to drive here and pay $8 to park. You could just catch the trail and go as far as you want and turn around and go back to the campground. And I did look at the campgrounds here for us to stay out, but this is another state that charges a per vehicle as well as a campground camping fees. So I didn't want to pay campground and the car fees because we're out of state residents. It wasn't enough for us to buy it for the annual pass, so where we are is much cheaper.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to go ahead and close this video out. I'm trying to keep them below 20 minutes, especially since I don't have a lot of time before my Wi-Fi is gone.
Yeah, we are obviously in the mountainous ranges.
Not that you can see right now.
Yeah.
It's not a phrase.
But our internet is about to become a little spotty as we head on
At best.
at best, as we head on into other areas that don't have great connectivity.
And yes, we're being invasive for a reason. You're going to have to keep watching to figure out where we're going next.
That's right.
In the meantime, make sure you head over to the blog. Our latest blog post will list a ton of places we have been to since we hit the road.
Yeah, and we're also updating our FAQ page. Our FAQs are ever growing. We get a ton of questions, so we figured let's go with the FAQs. And then as we think we're ahead of the game, we get more questions that warrant us to add more FAQs. So we're growing it, we're building it. So get on over there to the website, check out the blogs, check out the FAQs. You might find a lot of the answers prior to sending them to us.
Yeah,
might help.
Prior to an email or even the comments down below. But either way, I will put links for those down below. Also, I'll put the link to join our newsletter. Do that, and we will send you a link to the blog post as soon as it goes live, as well as the video. So
easy peasy.
And I promise no more than one email a week. I try not to hound you guys too much because I know how overwhelming it can be in my own email inbox.
Yeah, and the more the newsletters go out, the more emails we get, and that's my job. So I'm the one that has to answer most of the emails, so it's not Stacy, it's me. So when you say, hey, Stacy, in your email, it's really me that you're talking to.
This is true.
And then I normally, when you stump the chump, I go, hey, Stace, what do we do? And then she has to answer anyway. So, but that's how we do it.
Yeah, normally. So thanks so much for hanging out with us today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Give us a thumbs up and go ahead and hit that notification bell over there.
And drop down and hit those links to the blog. And we hope you guys are all doing well, and we hope we'll see you soon
on the road.